morning, everybody. Good morning, good morning. Let me check the chat here. Morning, Okie, Will, Liquidity, John, Rain, Digital Nomad, Master, Anthony, Crazy Eddie, TC, Marco, Evelyn, Abavero. Good morning, everybody. Good to see you in here. If you can like the video, again, I'd appreciate it. Looks like we're off to a slow start here this morning with the viewers. Good morning, good morning. Yeah, I would say today's a little bit more crazy, but don't be in a rush. Don't be fearful. What have I been preaching and talking to all of you about is being patient and waiting for your setups. If it doesn't form, you don't have to chase price. Trust me, your setup's probably going to form. Just because price has moved a lot does not mean that you have to participate, nor does that mean that your entry model is there. So, if we can get this to 100 likes real quick, there's 152 of you in here. If everybody liked the video, we can get it to 100 likes. That way we can get the show on the road here. Good morning, Mantis. What's the name of the song? I'll put it in the chat. Morning, Tom. I saw your message on the video last night, so apologies if I didn't get to it. I just woke up about an hour ago and read it. I appreciate it. Yeah, I know. Like I said, I was a little yesterday I didn't get much sleep, so sleep's crazy how much it affects you and your mood, and even with the internet and live streaming, people talking to you in comments. Usually I don't really get emotionally invested in comments, but yesterday I was a little upset about things. Today I woke up after a good night rest, and I generally don't care. So it's funny. We're 89 likes. If we can get 11 more, 10 more, we'll start the live stream here. You got jokes today, Will, huh? You and Nico are jokesters. Some of you I'd hang out in real life with. All right, we're at 100 likes. Like I said, if you can continue to like the video while I'm not preaching about it, it would be appreciated. Let me know if you can see the chart, and we're going to get into it today. Pack a lunch, it should be a long one. Not in terms of the time, but I think in terms of lessons. It always is, right? It always is. I think yesterday was a beautiful learning day for those who were here. You can see it? Cool, 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 cool. All right, so I think that it's pretty easy to see where the draw on liquidity is, right? Compare this to something like Monday, Tuesday, or even yesterday. How much easier is it to see the draw on liquidity? It's right in your face, right? I don't even have to talk about it for all of you who've been trading these concepts to see where the draw on liquidity is. It's not rocket science to see, all right, price is going to probably gravitate towards the relative equal highs, right? So compare that to something like Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday, where it was a little bit more difficult. It wasn't clearly one-sided. It was a little bit wishy-washy. You know, you gotta sit through some things like yesterday. So you want to be picking your shots on days like today, where it's easy, it's one-sided. You're not questioning whether we're going lower or higher. It's pretty damn clear we're going higher. At least in my eyes, and the way I view it, we're going towards the relative equal highs, right? So think about the distinguish between those days and the bias, because you want to be picking shots on days like today, where it's easier. I've only taken 2 trades so far this week. I've engaged 1 time this week, and we're on Thursday, right? So you want to be waiting for the days that are the most in your favor. And it looks like this, where the draw on liquidity is easy. It's one-sided. I can't make a case for the other side. It's a really nice, clean draw on liquidity. It's in line with the narrative. SMT helps right now. If you look at the lows between NQ, YM, and ES, you have dollar index moving lower. So those are good confluences. Those are things you want to be looking for in your trade idea, and something that you want to be trading in, right? So asking me what is a high probability fair value gap, what's a high probability environment to be in, these are signatures and things that you need to write down, annotate, and look for. But most of you are not patient enough to wait for something like this. You want to press inside of something like a Monday or Tuesday, and then you comment, it's a scalper's daydream. That is such a weird way to look at it. Why would you want to participate in something like a Tuesday? Remember, it was all consolidational, lethargic. Why would you want to participate in that? You want to be participating in something like today, where I could get potentially a nice, easy 40, 50 handle run to a clear draw on liquidity. I don't have any fear. It's super easy. Now, I'm pretty confident if my model forms, it's going to be a very easy trading day. That's the way I'm viewing it. I very well could take a loss, but the way I'm viewing it today is if my model forms, then I can target this buy side. I mean, it's bread and butter. It's easy, right? So hopefully that makes sense. For you wondering, what creates a high probability day, what creates, high probability model, etc., etc., this is what you need to be looking for. It's not, rocket science. It's pretty damn easy. It's just the patience and the discipline to wait for something like this. Otherwise, you're trading in slop. You're just, trading in a bunch of nonsense. And if we take out the buy side liquidity without my model forming, then there's nothing that I can do about it, right? So hopefully that makes sense. We're all on the same page, right? We know what we're looking for. We're looking for the buy side liquidity levels here and here. If we can reach past basically 1860, then I'll have to see how far price wants to go. If we want to continue to gravitate higher, then we'll see. We reach down into the CE of the daily inefficiency here. So we drop down into the CE there, moving above. Just a beautiful kind of fake move lower. It's probably going to turn into a bull shoulder block when we expand higher in the next few days. Exactly, Nico. Yeah, Thursday setting basically the reversal low of the week. So there's a buy side tagged. Do I feel any type of way? No. I know my model is going to form eventually. It just depends on if we get above this buy side liquidity pool here. Are we going to continue higher? I believe so. The next draw would be the CE of this wick here. I'm not in a rush to do anything. Just because the market has moved, just because I can see clear draw on liquidity where price potentially wants to go, does that mean I deviate outside of my rules? Does that mean I step outside of the boundaries and things I set out for myself? No. Just because I'm assuming, right? It's an assumption. It's a pretty strong assumption that price is going higher, but I can't deviate away from my rules. If you're just tuning in, I appreciate if you like the video. It would help get it out to the recommendation. I basically have hit a plateau with the live streaming in this channel. I've seen that we're basically stuck at basically 500 to 600 views, which I'm grateful for. I'm very grateful. Don't get me wrong. But I think that's as far as this channel is going to be pushed, to be honest with you. Like, I don't think that it can be pushed further than that. So my dreams of getting 1,000 viewers are probably not going to happen. So we tagged, did we tag 1860? Let me see. Yeah, my line was a little bit messed up. So both of those levels were tagged. It's still fine for me. I still believe that there can be a lot of follow through today. But what I'm waiting for is more or less a retracement. We've had a lot of movement to the upside. Probably moving into the silver bullet, there's going to be some type of retracement, and that's what I'd be waiting for. I'm not in a rush to, get into the trade here. That CE of the wick. I don't have it. Why? I'm not sure what you mean by that. Nico, have I considered going to PM? I mean, I don't trade PM, and I've discussed it before. I don't think many people are trading PM, so. I'm looking at a 1 minute here. Tag both buy sides. I'm not angry, upset. It's still fascinating to me. And here, I mean, unless you're positioned before this news event driver, I really found no entries to get into price. Does that mean your model's broken? Does that mean these concepts suck? No. We're able to see exactly where price was trading to. These buy-side liquidity pools. Just sometimes the bus leaves without you, and you're not able to get a seat. It's completely full. It's a packed, bus. And you have to wait for the next bus to come around. That next bus may be right around the silver bullet. So you have to be, willing to be patient enough to wait for it. Yo, Jimbo. Very good. Very good to hear that. Yeah, RTH gap. The issue with, so this is how you utilize an RTH gap. If you're already bullish on the day, like I know we opened up higher and there's probably a huge RTH gap beneath us. I'm not expecting the RTH gap. I mean, if we do have some type of retracement, I'd be expecting just about the 10 to 25% of it to get retraced into, and the rest of it to be left open. So this is our RTH gap. Again, the price moves and it's continuously pressing higher. What can you do? Nothing. So best thing you can do is sit still. I know probably a lot of people are watching this and they have a lot of emotions right now. Just chill out. So coming into silver bullet, if we start to retrace and have some, deeper retracement, that would be ideal. It would be nice. As far as the RTH gap, either A, we're going to leave this entire thing, the entire portion open, or B, you have some slight retracement into at least 10 to 25%. If I'm extremely bullish on the day and I'm looking for higher prices and the RTH gapped higher, then I'm not anticipating any retracement into it, really. If anything, just a small retracement and then price to expand higher again. I'm not anticipating like yesterday where we were anticipating at least, a run back up into the CE or a little bit higher to fully close it in. Why not trade a retracement and then go for a move higher? Well, I'm not trying to pick a top in a very extremely bullish market. I'm not trying to counter that. I don't know when the top's going to form. I think you're placing your odds in a very lower betting odds, right? If you just place it in terms of betting, why would I try to short that? I just want to be in line with the overall move. I'm comfortable waiting for the retracement. Because who's to say that there is a retracement? I don't know that. We may never get one. It may just rally off higher. And then you're caught trying to keep pushing a retracement that's never going to happen. So trying to counter trade an overall bullish narrative to me, it's lower odds. It's a lower probability. For a newer student to do that it's harder, right? Even for a more experienced, person like me, I don't do that unless I'm extremely confident in what price should be doing. Yeah, Nico. I mean, that's what I discussed in the beginning of the video. It's like, even from the weekly forecast, I understood that Monday. Go back to my weekly forecast. I mean, who else is calling that shit? I'm sorry to boast about myself, but who else is calling Monday through Wednesday? We're going to consolidate, and Thursday and Friday we're going to expand. I mean, who else is calling that? Go back to the weekly forecast. It's not hindsight. It's not me talking nonsense. It's me calling the market exactly how we've unfolded this week. Like, and being able to understand that protects you from so many losses. I mean, Monday, Tuesday, didn't take a trade. Yesterday, we took two trades, but basically participated one time. Mental capital's still intact. Haven't spent much. Capital's still there. Everything's still there. And then you get a good opportunity like this where you can capitalize on it and you can make money. Otherwise, if I was a poor trader, somebody who didn't know what they're doing, Monday and Tuesday, I would have blown all my money. And then I come into Wednesday, blow more money. Come into Thursday, it's like, damn, market's clean. It's like, well, yeah, you have to anticipate this stuff. You have to. It's not hard. Yeah, excellent. A full margin, just go. Yo, CJ, you know I'm thinking the market ain't gonna move much until NFP week. It's moved a lot, my friend. Zeusy is your student. He probably is. A lot of your favorite influencers on social media have learned from me over the years, and they just keep quiet about it. I got receipts for it too. Yet they don't give me any credit, so it's cool. I'm on one today. Forgive me. What do you think about the? Somebody asked. What about the 4-hour board shorter block, the mean threshold? No. So I believe you're anticipating this. If the narrative is bullish, your price is seeking higher prices, then you're going to anticipate bearish order blocks, bearish fair value gaps, any PD rate to be ran over because it's not in line with the narrative, right? Nico, yeah, I try my best to avoid it, but again, I'm human, so I apologize if I do swear. Difference between RTH and ETH. RTH is regular trading hours. It's when there's no basically trading done between the close of a day and an open. And electronic trading, there's still going to be trading. So regular trading hours used to be a thing back in the day before they switched over to electronic trading. Roosta, what's up, brother? Good to hear. So you see, even though price is moving a lot, I'm still going to exercise my discipline and in my rule set, which is to wait for the silver bullet, regardless of what is happening. I know my model, I know the data and the statistics around it, that more than likely my model is going to form within the silver bullet. So I do not fear what is happening before, I don't fear what happens after. All I'm concerned about is the silver bullet, because I know with pure confidence that my model should form. If you start deviating outside of price, outside of your rules because price is doing something, and you're just breaking discipline, you're not going to gain consistency. If I'm trading, sometimes I'm trading the open, sometimes I'm trading the silver bullet, sometimes I'm trading launch, sometimes I'm trading PM. You're never going to have consistency. There's certain rules like yesterday where I can trade outside of the silver bullet. If price meets me to where I anticipate it, then yes. But that's more of an experience outlook and a viewpoint. But if you're newer, you need to have rigid, very rigid rule sets. You cannot deviate, especially as a newer student. You cannot just do whatever the market's doing and let it blow you around everywhere. And it's not really the market, it's yourself. But you need to have a very rigid rule set. I'm trading from this 10 o'clock hour to 11. I'm not deviating. This is what I'm doing. I don't care what price is doing. Regardless of how much it moved, how much emotions I'm feeling, I'm not deviating. It doesn't print my model, I don't enter. Like, these type of things are very important. So all I talk about is discipline. Small little inefficiency in here. As I said, I don't want to be buying up here. We reached terminus, so I want to see either from here, anytime you make a new high or you reach some type of major buy side, sell side liquidity pool, it can allow price to move back into a short-term premium / discount. So I want to see in here. I wouldn't anticipate this if you're visualizing it. We have about 17 minutes till the close. I wouldn't want to see price move back into this inefficiency in here. That's too deep of a discount personally. It may, and if it does, then I'll have to analyze and weigh decisions and options if price wants to continue higher. But if anything, it would just be a short IOFED. Like if price opens next hourly candle, drops down into this, IOFEDs it, then expands higher, I could do that. Would I prefer to stay open? Probably. Look at the 30-minute time frame. There's an inefficiency in here, and then again the RTH gap. So you can't forget that. So it may retrace into the 25% of it. So right where that 50% is, that's 25% of it, which is kind of in line with that 1 hour. 15-minute, same thing, inefficiency in here. So now I'm looking at it. It may want to drop down into that inefficiency. Not a lot, but it may have some short-term retracement. Am I going to try to short it? No. I'm going to stay in line with whatever the narrative is. Because I believe if we do drop down into that, it's going to expand higher from there. Like we would just do something like this, right? If price continues to expand higher, and I'm seeing that price is not willing to have any sort of deeper retracement, then I'm going to elect to believe that this is going to be left open as a breakaway gap, and then I can push for a long inside of a quote-unquote premium. I can push for a long inside of here because I'm anticipating that to stay as a breakaway. But the ideal situation is where price retraces into this type of inefficiency, right? And then I'm willing to go long. So I'm just laying out the options before the silver bullet. I'm seeing, all right, what are my options? What can price do? What's the ideal scenario? And then just counter it all. This is what I do is, I talk about being a detective, is if price, let's just say flip side analysis, devil's advocate. We've taken out buy side and this thing completely drops lower. Well, then I have to anticipate that. I have to say, okay, well, if I see some type of really bearish movement lower, it's just collapsing lower, we're bleeding through these inefficiencies, then I have to get in line with that. But would I believe that's going to happen? No. But I'm always open to the other side. I don't want to ever be caught off guard. I don't want to be like, damn, I never saw that coming. Like, that's called marrying a bias. That's being way too over leveraged in a idea per se, really. For me, I'm open to all the ideas, and then if I see something, I'm going to put, I'm going to make the bet, and I'm going to see if it pans out. It's as simple as I can make it. Yeah, DXY is no help, so I'm not utilizing it. In times where it's just consolidating, I'm not going to utilize intermarket relationships like that. I'm just solely focusing on the asset class that I'm trading. And if SMT helps, which it has been, then I'll utilize that. So if you compare the overnight lows, ES made a lower low, NQ made a lower low, YM failed to make the lower low. If you go out to like a 1 hour time frame, compare the lows. That's what, a bullish SMT. So TCM, I saw you in here yesterday. Plan A and Plan B. How could you sit as an analyst and say that there isn't a Plan A or Plan B? There's always options on the table. That's such an idiotic statement, dude. Like, you've been here for 3 days and you want to comment some stuff. How about you sit through the last 2 months? Because I've been profitable the last 2 months. That's not true at all, TCM. Again, if you have something negative to say, I don't understand it. My whole chat can speak for myself, who've been here for 2 months watching me trade. You would never have the balls to sit in front of a live audience of 600 people and call price and take a trade. So who are you to sit here and tell me what I'm doing? Such an idiotic statement. Yeah, I will. Again, some people, they deserve to get called up. They deserve to have something come back at them. They can't just walk around and just say whatever they want all the time. They deserve to be talked upon. Like, these type of people, either A, you're looking for validation yourself. Talk about me talking about validation. Jeez almighty. Danny, what's up, brother? Yeah, again, I'm not triggered by it. It's just some people deserve, they can't just walk around and just say shit all the time. It's like some people deserve the things that are coming to them. Doesn't matter. I already banned them, so it's fine. You guys are funny. Okay, so we're rolling into the macro, the silver bullet. As I've discussed before, sorry, I'm looking at the chat. As I discussed before, we're going to see rolling into the silver bullet. I want to see the 1 hour kind of as a focus point for me. I want to see how we close. If we close near, like let's say we drop down even more here. If we close near this inefficiency in here, then I'd probably anticipate this to IOFED it. If this thing closed really bullish and we're far away in proximity away from that inefficiency, then I would not anticipate that to IOFED it or even retrace into it. So I'm looking at the 1 hour. That's the parent. That's my focus point and where I'm looking at. So hope you understand that. Because if we stay pressing higher, then I'm gonna anticipate that as a breakaway gap. Ideally, I would want the retracement because I would have a little bit more confidence and confluence behind going higher. Medium impact news at 10 o'clock. Thank you for that. I mean, just to go off of that comment, I'm not bringing any negativity, but it is a decent question, right? Like you have plan A, plan B, plan C, whatever. Because I'm open to those options. And you guys have seen me be able to switch in real time. Like, okay, I thought this, market's not providing that anymore. Okay, let me switch. Like that's not being a bad analyst. It's being a good analyst. You're being able to be fluid. Being able to just stick with one bias and just marrying that, to me, that's a poor analyst. You're being stubborn, right? But if I'm able to switch in real time and see, okay, well, price is no longer respecting bullish PD raise or bearish, it's not in line with what I thought, then being able to just switch with logic, as long as things are in line, that's a really good analyst. That's somebody who knows what they're doing. Like, you've seen ICT do it, you've seen me do it. It's a sign of a very good analyst. I don't care what anybody else says. Yeah, I mean, it's medium impact news. We had major news event driver, obviously in this. It was GDP. Excuse me, that was core PCE. We have GDP yesterday, I believe. Yeah, exactly, Rista. Do I have any delay? I mean, as far as the stream health is so good, it's good so far. Cody, no, I no matter the amount of confidence I have in a trade idea, I never up my risk. Like, I always stay within my consistent risk because to me, it's just that's overconfidence. Like, I don't know. There's days where I've been super confident about a trade idea and it just didn't work out. Like, even yesterday, I was very confident about the trade idea working out and I got stopped out by one handle. So there is a quote like when you see your trade idea, it's like swing the bat harder, but I just don't find that a very good idea because again, the human mind, you can believe that something is very high probability or very good, and then you analyzed it wrong. You're a human. You're gonna make mistakes. So I'm allowing myself to understand that I'm a human. I can do stupid shit at times. So Mason, yeah. I mean, consistently, I've had about 15 to 20 handle stop losses. It hasn't really deviated from that. It depends on the range. Sometimes if the range is huge for the day, then I have to. It just depends. It's probably going to be a little bit more. But if you're in tight ranges like we've been in all week, you're probably going to have a little bit lower stop loss and a little bit, lower profit target. Noon, thank you. That's it. You don't see me freaking out or feel like I'm missing out on a move. I'm waiting for the model, for the rule set to come in. I really particularly wouldn't be a fan of picking along in here. We've moved in a very high premium. If price moves away, drifts off without me, it is what it is. You have to be comfortable with the idea of letting some certain ideas just go. Because on the flip side, if this thing melts and I took a long and I would have took a loss, I would have been upset because it's like, well, I know not to do that. What's up, XNO? You said you wait for your model. What is your model? I have a video on my YouTube channel called Try to Remember Models. I mean, I have multiple models. It's just, if you sat with me long enough, and I know if you're newer here, you're going to start to understand at least what I look for. It's not just one particular thing or one model. There's a lot of different criterias and things that I look for. As a newer student, I know may not satisfy your question, but it's just the truth. Copy that I symbol to... Are you talking about this one? XNO, the one in here? I've tried that. Does that work? Because if it does, I like this one better. Yeah, because then it just says icon. That's the reason why I went with the other one. Been in your streams the last 2 weeks. Thanks for doing this. I'm slowly learning good practices. Thank you. Good to hear. What's up, Casper? Digital Nomad. Yeah, I don't know what's going on yesterday with Ninja Trader and Quant Tower. You hit it on the head, Joseph. All models are just skeletons. They're skeletons, and each day is going to be unique. Your model's not going to look picture perfect every single time. It's going to have different characteristics, different things surrounding it. And you as the analyst, you have to be able to determine, engage, and weigh options and decisions if that's the correct model. Like, a model is just a model. A model alone is not going to make you profitable. Being able to see the narrative, be able to weigh different options in terms of like SMT divergence, intermarket relationships. There's a lot of different things that are not within the model that affect it. So you have to be aware of that. And I talk about that in the videos. Like, there's a lot of things that create a recipe. A model is just a few of them. Accidental. I went to like Telegram and I went to the emojis and I just found an eye icon and I copied and pasted it to TradingView because for some reason I can't copy and paste this one, so I had to elect to go with this icon here. I know it isn't the best, but it does the job. If you're just tuning in, you're new here, subscribe or like the video. I'd appreciate it. We're only at 232 likes. I think we can get up to 400. Alex, I don't know. I don't know exactly. Like I said, I mean, I want to do 3 months of this, but we'll see. I mean, we're off. I've done 2 months now, so see if I can do one more. I got you, Maddie. I'm on Windows, like a regular PC, so I don't have Mac. Gotcha, Bishop. Thank you. So about 34 seconds or so till this closes. So now I'm looking at it, I'm going, okay, is it, if you've had experience, if I'm just looking at this, I'm going, okay, is it probable in the cards for price to open, drop all the way down into this inefficiency, and then rally higher? I don't particularly believe that's going to be the case. It could, so I have to be open-minded. It could do that. Preferably at this point, I'd probably rather elect to leave it open, right? Because in proximity from price, those inefficiencies are far away. So at that point in time, I'm going to elect to believe it's probably just going to continuously rally higher, and it's not going to have a deeper retracement. So what would that mean for us is I'd be a little bit more comfortable probably picking a long in this higher premium. It's at least the way I'm viewing it currently. Things can change. Again, it's okay to change your bias. If something happens and I'm like, okay, that's no longer a valid statement or idea, then I can change it. Doesn't mean I'm wrong, doesn't mean I'm a poor analyst, just means I'm able to be fluid. Right? I think it's very key and important to do that. As far as the higher objectives, like where is price going to reach into? Well, I have on the 1 hour this specific level, which is the CE of this wick here. So I want to see, does price want to reach up into the CE of that wick? What does the CE of the wick mean? That's CE of wicks can act as gaps, simply put. How long have I been trading ICT? About close to 5 years now, 6 years trading in total. So I've had a long journey in this. Same thing for the 4 hour. You want to mark out the 50% of this wick in here. I've been seeing Ali Khan uploading content. What do you think about him? There's no comment. If they don't trade live, I mean, I wouldn't trust them. Hey man, what's your one trade setup for life? Have you explained it? I mean, I don't have a particular one trade setup for life. One trade setup for life is talking about session highs and lows, previous session highs and lows, and utilizing them. So utilizing, if you're going into New York, You're utilizing London session highs and lows, and you're utilizing probably the previous New York session highs and lows. If those are in the proximity of your trade idea, you can utilize it as a draw on liquidity. Joseph probably took me about 4.5 years probably to really start getting the consistency down. And consistency is not, you're not winning every single week. I want you to understand what that viewpoint and that perspective looks like. It's not winning every single day. It's not winning every single week. Consistency is reaching to where, you're just a little bit above break even. You may win 2 weeks out of the month and you're able to maintain a little bit of profitability. Like, a lot of you lose, 1 or 2 weeks out of the month and you think you're not reaching consistent profitability. Like, that's the best traders in the world. They'll lose 2-3 weeks out of the month, but then they have a very good week and it oversees all their losses. So I'm just looking at a 5-minute time frame in here. What in the world? So that's that CE level there. I'm just trying to gauge, does this really want to just continue to displace higher? Could I have went long in here? Yes. I'm just trying to gauge how far this thing really wants to go. So we could have some type of deeper retracement, even though I'm not anticipating that. It could happen, and I'm not trying to get caught off guard. Because the only thing I can see with a realistic, logical view from this fair value gap, the only thing I can see is that buy-side liquidity. It could reach very well further than that. But as far as where the drawn liquidity is, logically, in the moment of time, this is the only place I can see price going to. So do I really want to enter into a trade for 20 handles? Not really. That's as far as I can really see price going. I could see it reach into the CE, but we very well could just take out buy side, then drop lower. So do I want to spend mental capital and be inside of a trade for 20 handles? Not necessarily. Yeah, exactly. I mean, there doesn't necessarily have to be a sell side liquidity run. If price is in a hurry, it's spooling towards the drawn liquidity. It doesn't necessarily have to have any sell side liquidity raids. It would be preferred. I'm more comfortable with that. It makes me a lot more confident in the trade idea overall and the bias. So again, this is where you as the analyst, you draw the line in the sand personally. You say, all right, either I'm going to wait for price to retrace and have some type of sell side liquidity raid. I'm going to stand on this side and I'm drawing the line in the sand saying I'm not doing anything until it does X, Y, or Z. That is the best way to maintain profitability. It depends on your style, whatever you prefer. Personally, right now, I'm going to elect to just wait for more information. I don't have enough conviction to take a trade right now. I think we're too high in a premium. I've reached both my terminus objectives. Do I want to take a trade to where I can really only see about 20 handles? Not really. I don't want to be caught off guard where price, ends up retracing. So experience and time is really just telling me to sit still. That's as simply as I can put it. Keep an eye on DXY. Let me pop over to it. Oh, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful dollar. Yeah, so if you take a look at dollar index is dropping off lower, what does that mean for index futures? What does that mean for us? Well, that means that in terms of intermarket relationships and them agreeing, if dollar index moves lower, this should preferably move higher. So it's like an extra padded of confluence. It's just an extra, again, to your trade idea. You talk about models. It's something that's not even happening. This is not this is not a part of the skeleton, right? Like, take the 2022 model, for example. That's not part of the skeleton, but it's a part of the entire model. Utilizing that helps you. I'm sure somebody's going to ask, do I want to take a short? I know somebody already has asked that. No, I just would like to stay on side with whatever the narrative is. It's the easiest way to protect yourself. Thank you, Justin. More money. Yeah. What am I waiting for? Probably just a deeper retracement overall. Experience, this goes into intuition. As you build time with these charts and you've spent a lot of time with them and you've done a lot of work, time and experience, it's going to trigger your intuition to tell you to do something. Like, I'm listening to basically my gut. It's just to sit still. Don't do anything just yet. I can't teach that. Like, it's just more or less experience. The narrative has been short for days. Well, I would like to disagree, because that's what the anyways. Psychology books you recommend. Mental Game and Trading, fantastic book for psychology. Zaso, I think, as a beginner, yeah, but I think overall, I mean, you're going to need more than that. Like, it doesn't work that way. Like, it simply can't fit in the back of a business card, dude. Mine would be essays long. If you wanted to simplify it, yes. Like, I could put it on. Mine would be a fair value gap targeting a draw on liquidity. But that's so vague. That's such a vague, model. There's so much more to it. Again, I mean, a lot of people like to talk, especially in chats or whatever, but I mean, if you're that confident in whatever you're saying, I don't understand why you're not live streaming. Just do it. Stop talking and just do it. Why don't you chat? We're dropping off lower in here, and that's good. I want to see a fast, quick retracement. That would be good for overall higher prices overall. Joseph, I have not. I just more or less, I know about the overall idea of stoicism and how to act. I mean, I'm not saying I'm perfect, and I think trading does help with stoicism. So their sell side ran. I don't even think we got up into that inefficiency there. Barely even touched it. But what is this? That's the inversion. Not that I would go short there. It's just tape reading, saying, all right, cool. So do you see, more or less experience is telling me just to stay out of that overall idea of trying to go long inside of that premium, waiting for a deeper retracement, waiting for sell side liquidity to be ran. It's a little bit better odds, right? Drawing that line in the sand, saying I'm only doing this. The market's going to meet me here. If it doesn't, then I do nothing. So far it's meeting me where I want it to be. I want a deeper retracement in order to continue going higher. So we're digging down into RTH gap, as we talked about before. It's good. my set of rules on my model and what I look for. If I'm anticipating like a really higher run like today, I'm not trying to pick a long right on this IOFED because, I mean, the risk, where am I going to put my stop loss? It would have to go way, way down here. So what I'm waiting for is the higher time frame point of interest to be hit. And I'm waiting for an energetic displacement higher, price proving itself to me that it wants to continue being bullish. That's a good way to protect myself. Otherwise, I'm just trading, kind of blindly. Like, just to pick a long in here because I'm overall bullish and that's what I think is going to happen. I think it's poor trading. It's poor management. So let's just play devil's advocate, right? Let's just say all price did was take out buy side liquidity. And it's not going to continue higher today. This thing completely drops off lower and it continues lower. And this is what I mean by being fluid and being able to switch biases. When current information comes in, it's something you didn't anticipate. It doesn't mean you're wrong. It doesn't mean you're a bad analyst. It doesn't mean anything, really. Like, it just means that, okay, that information I thought was valid at one point is no longer valid. Let me get in line with whatever price is doing. But I have to have enough information and solid evidence that price is no longer agreeing with whatever I was thinking, and now it's doing something different. And I have to see with real logic that that's truly what is happening. So I have to see in here, depending on how price delivers, is it going to continue higher? Do I have enough evidence for it, or is it going to drift off lower? That's not you being a bad analyst. That's you being a very good analyst. You're not getting married to a bias. You're not being overly confident or stubborn. It's being fluid with the market. Again, a lot of people get so married to a bias, like they're so energetic. I don't care what price does. Like, who cares if price doesn't move higher and my model never prints, I didn't take a loss. If it starts to move off lower and I get in sync with it, what does it matter that I was thinking higher prices? I'm still profitable. I still made money. Like, it doesn't matter. Being right or wrong in this market, it doesn't mean anything. I went over this yesterday. Like, was it right on the entire overall idea? Got stopped out. So what does right or wrong mean? It doesn't. A lot of people put a lot of emphasis on being right or wrong. In the end of the day, is there money in your account? Did you build it? Ricardo, I think the 2022 model is very simple. It's not an end-all be-all. It's just a good start. Yeah, exactly. Sahid or SYED. It's a great comment. If I don't see something, then I'm not confident in one way or the other, then I sit still. So we drop down into this inefficiency here, and we're just IOFED'd it, took out sell side. I'm sitting here and almost crying. I can't figure out how long did it take you to become profitable. It took me a long time. It took me multiple years. A lot of struggle. I mean, I've traded retail concepts for 2 years before I even found ICT. All I can say is just keep going. A lot of us, you're not the only one who's gone through insane amount of struggles. You're not the only one. Like, the best people in the world that are profitable, they've gone through 10 times more losses and struggles than you have. It's normal. Don't feel like you're excluded. It's what social media does to people. It poisons people's minds thinking that because they're losing all the time and everybody else is posting profits, everybody's doing well all the time, that they're broken, they're flawed. No, we're all broken. We're all flawed. It took me so many years of heartache, pain to even reach somewhat a profitability on my 4th year. Like, that was just being break even, and then I'd go into a little bit of profit, and then I'd go out. I mean, it takes a long time. I don't care what anybody else says, you can reach profitability in 6 months. Sure, if you're an exception to the rule, that's fine. But most of you aren't. I wasn't either. It's going to take a long time. Like, don't get tricked by these people on social media saying you can become profitable in 1 year. Even 2 years, even 3 years, even 4 years. Like, I would set a goal of 6 years. Even then, I mean, it could take even longer than that. When you arrive, everybody arrives on their own time. We're all different. We're all programmed different. We all have different circumstances in our life that either prevent us or excel us through this journey. So don't put a time limit. That's all I'm going to say. It's the best advice I can give. You're going to pressure yourself into trying to make it before you really even arrive. Break even is an amazing stage to be at. It really is. That means that you're doing something right, and you just have to make a couple tweaks, a couple adjustments. Mainly it's just weeding out those kind of unnecessary losses, and if you can do that, then you're reaching, you're pushing yourself over that break-even line into profitability. It's a very good place to be at. It sucks to be in it because it's like, man, I can see it, I'm right there, and I can't reach into the damn thing. I get it, it's frustrating. A lot of you will be in break-even stage for a long period of time. I was as well. Yes, Tom, it's the number one factor. It is the number one factor between profitability and a loser is your mindset and your discipline. So only repeating things I talk about on here. Am I a technical wizard? I would say so. I'm pretty damn good at this technical stuff, but it means nothing without my mental state. I mean, if you're asking, I saw somebody, what am I waiting for? I'm just waiting for evidence. Does this thing really want to displace higher? I'm waiting for evidence of that. It's my model, the rules that I set out for myself. If you're comfortable, you want to take a long or a short in here, whatever you want to do, I mean, don't listen to me, man. You using that as an inversion? I don't know which one. Flight. I mean, it is the truth, though. ICT's talked about it. Break-even's a very good stage to be at. It sucks, man. It's not fun. I get it. Like, you don't just go from losing to profitability. You're probably going to go from losing a lot to losing a little bit less to break-even, sitting at break-even, getting a little bit of profitability, giving it back, a little bit of profitability, giving it back, and then you'll finally reach into consistent profits, and then you'll excel into very good profits. And even then, so you're going to have good months, bad months, and it's not all sunshine and rainbows all the time. Number one thing is to never lose composure throughout losses, throughout a string of losses, throughout drawdown. You guys saw that yesterday. I mean, I try to give the best real-time example. Took a loss by one handle, price ran exactly to my targets. I maintained composure. I waited for my model to print. The model printed, entered into the trade, and made the loss back. You just can't overcomplicate it. The only reason you're overcomplicating it is because your emotions are getting in the way. Logically, you know what to do. You know what the right decision is. The Wizard of Naz. Is it an entry drill? Yeah, I mean, this is an IOFED, but I'm waiting for evidence. I want price to prove to me that it's bullish. I want to see evidence of it. What would that look like? Well, it would be a strong, energetic displacement higher. I would at least have a couple scenarios of price respecting bullish PD arrays. Yes, there's a SIBI in here, so I have to be aware of that. If I see some really good evidence while we're inside of here that price is just not respecting it and price wants to gravitate higher, then I'm going to elect to go long. Like right now, I could see both sides. And this goes back to the comment we had originally. There's times where I see both scenarios. It means to sit still and wait for more evidence. The narrative and everything at higher time frames points to higher prices. So the bearish PD array should be ran over. Preferably, that's what should be happening. But I can't be blind to the other side. I can't be blind to that idea. What is like one of my favorite models that I wait for? 75% complete to the drawn liquidity. So from that high, from the relative equal highs down a little low, I'm waiting for basically the last 25% in here. I don't have to, but ideally this is an amazing model. By that time, we've already reached above the SIBI. Price is probably no longer going to sell off. If I can find an entry pattern there to target the buy side, reach for a little bit more, easy, low-hanging fruit. I don't have to worry. It's clearly one-sided. To me, it's the easiest entry pattern you could look for. Wow, Millen. Yeah, I mean, dude, there's people I'm sure that lost millions of dollars. I mean, it's always a fractal thing is when you feel like you're losing a lot, you're, down bad, you can always look at somebody else and they probably have taken a lot worse losses and still made it out of it. What is IOFED, institutional order flow entry drill? So what do? We reach down into, well, I'd say approximately 40%, 30% of the RTH gap. So that's 25%, and basically exactly what I was anticipating from the very beginning. So that's good. So far, everything is in line for higher prices. I have to be aware that this could give way for price to sell off. But I'm electing to draw the line in the sand and say, you know what, I just want to look for higher prices. That's what the narrative's telling me. When I'm looking at the higher time frames, daily time frames bullish, weekly time frames bullish, 4 hours bullish, 1 hour. IOFED the 1 hour fair value gap in here. And let me see. I didn't quite reach into this, but it's a bullish breaker there. I also wanted to look at this. I had this on my other chart. Slight inversion there. So a lot of the things are a lot more in favor for higher prices than it is short. So yeah, if the 5 minute could turn into an inversion, that would be great. Small inefficiency in there. And this is a beautiful example of narrative. Like, just because there's a bearish fair value gap or a bearish order block, if the narrative is not in line with it, then it's going to get ran over. You're not in line with narrative. That's why narrative is very important. What is the minimum handle you accept? Probably 20. It depends. If I can see it reach past the drawn liquidity, I can logically see that. Even if we're up in this higher premium, and I can see it reach past the relative equal highs, I'm pretty confident that we could reach up into like that CE of that wick in there, then to me that's still a valid trade idea. YM dropped off really heavy. But YM's just weird. It's the weird one out. Nico, yeah. It's not a bad turtle soup. I'm not a person for turtle soups. I don't love them. Turtle soups can actually, in hindsight, they are risky, but they can give you the most risk-free trade because you're picking the very low. You don't have to wait for certain entry patterns. And it's just I don't know where I'd put my risk. Again, if you're new here, constantly look what I'm doing here. I'm flipping through all the time frames. I'm looking at how is price reacting, where is it at, where is it currently sitting, where did we move away from. Those things are important. If you guys are just tuning in, I see there's 735 of you in here. If you can like the video, I'd appreciate it. Subscribe if you're new. If we can get to 1,000 viewers today, I'd be stoked. Situational, Nico. Situational. I could say yes to both sides of that. So I could be buying in here. I'm just weary of the idea. I mean, this could give way to sell off. So this is my personal way I trade, is I would elect to wait for this to be respected. Am I going to get, if it ends up moving higher, did I miss an entry? No. Because I'm comfortable even just waiting for something like that to happen. Waiting for price to move away from it, giving me a good confidence, good clear direction it wants to move higher. If you haven't sat here with me before, you're probably looking at that and going, why are you not going long? Well, I've just described it, but I'm very patient. I'm very comfortable with, even if price moves higher and we get above this SIBI, that turns into an inversion, that's going to protect me from a potential loss, because we could sell off from the SIBI. Even though I'm overall bullish and I anticipate higher prices, it could sell off from there. Now, if price moves above, it's showing me that's willing to go higher. I may not get the best risk to reward, the best entry in the world, but I'm doing a proper job. I'm just waiting for an easy, low-hanging fruit entry to where I can target buy side, and that's it. So on the flip side, I could see it sell off from here. I don't favor it, but if it does, then guess what? I protect myself. Because I'm not willing to go short in here. It's not what I'm seeing, but I do see the flip side where it could. So I'm not being blind to the idea of it. If it sold short, would I feel like I missed a move? No, because that's not my overall bias. Does that mean I'm wrong? I'm bad as an analyst? No. That's a previous new week opening gap. Put the lines on. So this is our current new week opening gap down there. It's a previous new week opening gap up there. It's funny, I spoke about being at a consistent like 500 viewers and I wasn't going to grow, and now we're at 700 today. It's funny. Yeah, I mean, just because liquidity has been taken doesn't mean that price is going to immediately drop lower. If I'm looking at a daily chart, which is the parent, that's the parent order flow, we drop down into the daily BISI, the CE of it, or expanding higher. If you look at the weekly, the monthly, remember we only have 6 hours left of this monthly candle, so that's going to be interesting. The weekly, daily, still points to higher prices. So even though buy side liquidity has been tagged, that doesn't mean price is going to immediately revert. It's not necessarily agreeing with the narrative. If the narrative was short, looking for lower prices on higher time frames, the price took out buy side, then yes, I would agree. What? I get a bunch of Papa John ads on your stream. Is it just me? That's hilarious. You crossed 3K viewers yesterday. I mean, I don't think in the current like viewership, no. Maybe overall, like after the stream's done. hit 50% of a new week opening gap. You probably have a new day opening gap on, Justin. Unless you're talking about that one. But if there's something right in here, then that's probably a new day opening gap. Yeah, that's a new day opening gap. And that's a previous one. I don't have that many new day opening gaps on. Unless it's like a fresh one. Go out to the 1 hour and look at today and look at the bodies. Look at the new day opening gap and where we propelled higher. Are you talking about this Jack in here? I mean, yeah, it can provide information to me. I'm sure there's a lot of opinions in here where you could see higher prices, you could see lower. And this is where, to me, I'm sitting still. And the other people are going to be like, once it moves to one side, it's going to be like, haha, I told you. And me, I'm going to be doing nothing. Until price proves to me it wants one side or the other, I'm not doing it. I'm electing to say I'm looking for higher prices, but I don't feel comfortable longing currently, so I'm going to wait for more information. If it starts to move off higher, I'm pretty damn confident with the tools that we have, there's probably going to be some type of entry in this higher portion that I could go long in, I could target buy side. I've shown you this many times. That's why I don't fear missing entries or moves that I'm not confident in. Digital nomadic, it can. Again, every single PD array, if it's not in line with the narrative, it's not going to work. So it doesn't matter if it's nested or not nested. If it's a part of the narrative or not, you have to see. Do you use any order flow? I don't know if you're talking about like, what is that called? Bookmap? No. Nico, I have a banana today, so maybe that's good luck. Yeah, Bookmap, I don't know too much about. I've never used it. If it works for you, man, and you find it useful, use it. I never tell people not to use something. Like they personally like something, I'm not gonna tell them not to utilize it, even if it doesn't agree with ICT stuff. I mean, who am I to say that? Enigma is eating a banana while on the charts. I think it is. I'll go through like a 2, a 3, a 4 and just look at it, but it's relatively the same to the 1 and 5. So let's see in here, can it keep displacing higher? Can it keep maintaining higher prices? Oh, damn, I didn't even look at the time. We're moving pretty deep into the silver bullet. Time flew by quick today. Exactly, Kangaroo. I think it takes a lot of stress off of you. But most people, they fear missing the move, right? They fear that, man, if I don't enter in here, I'm never gonna capture the move. So they have to enter into that. But for me, I've seen the patterns repeat so much. I have so much experience with these concepts, and I know we have so many tools in our tool shed with these concepts that I'm not fearful of that. I know over time that price should print, even if it moved higher, and it gave me a great deal of confidence. It's probably going to print an entry pattern in there. rather than me spending a bunch of mental capital being inside of this. I mean, it's easier just to sit out and wait. In hindsight, you may beat yourself up and be like, damn, you know, like I should have entered in there, but to me, I'm doing the right thing. It's my personality, it's my style. Some people may agree with it, they may not. So it is what it is. Yeah, exactly, Tom. Which yesterday I still think was a fine entry in terms of, you know, not even waiting for the 5 minute. It just so happened to stop me out by one handle. Like, you can't make that stuff up. What's my bias? Just got in. That's everything. Long, short, sideways, up, down, sideways, backwards. I'm kidding. I'm looking for higher prices. Yeah, and especially as we move into the later portions of the silver bullet. I really do like the end of the silver bullet macro. So like 1050 to 1110. That'd be really nice. So this is good. That's exactly what I want to see. Do I feel like, damn it, man, I didn't get an entry in here? Nope. But to me, this is proving to me that it wants higher prices. I don't have as much fear or concern or doubt now that price is moving higher. It's like, yeah, it's pretty damn clear. It's in line with the narrative. It's in line with what I'm looking for. I would have liked to close on the 5 minute above the SIBI, but what can you do? So really nice reaction from the 1 hour. I know I have a banana. I like your chart template. Is it being shared? I don't know exactly what you mean by that. Maybe the annotations or anything like that. No. Why don't you take that 1 minute FEG? I just explained it, so please go back in the video. Thank you, PUMEX. Appreciate it. Finn, appreciate it. So inefficiency there. I think people get annoyed by my level of patience, but it works for me, man. It does. Really what I'm waiting for is to see if we can get above the 5 minute, even this SIBI in here. Yeah, of course, Digital Nomad. That's why I keep the chat open, because I know a lot of you have questions, and it does help when I answer them. I mean, I have to take the pros and the cons. So, I mean, that's just a perfect example of my patience. I mean, we didn't get this closure above the SIBI in here. It's not yet an inversion. If we closed above the SIBI, that's going to act as an inversion. It's kind of telling you, it's like a market structure shift in a sense, right? Change in state of delivery, if you want to use the fancy terms. So if that closed above it, that would give me a great deal of confidence. Even moving above this SIBI in here would give me a great deal of confidence. Was I looking for lower prices? No, so I don't feel any type of way about price moving off lower. If it does, then I can get in line with it. Like, being the middleman is a good place to be. Like, if I can just sit in the middle, and then if it picks a side, if I'm unclear, it doesn't mean that I'm being wishy-washy, 50%, this or that. It's just me being smart. If this thing sells off short and I can get in line with the short bias, sure, I'll do that. Like, it's me being smart. But I have to see enough evidence for that. I would have to see enough evidence that clearly it wants to seek lower prices, and if so, then I'll do that. And guess what? It was no burden to me to take the long or the short. If I was overall looking for lower prices today, then I would have anticipated this as the shorting opportunity, but I didn't. It's against the narrative so far. Are you checking regular trading hours? Yeah, we had this RTH gap. Something I never understood is where the RTH gap inside of the PDA matrix, like TMF and LW. I don't know what those abbreviations are for. Maybe I'm just misreading it. Thank you. Really like your patience. I get inspired by you. Thank you. I mean, I don't think it has to do with lower or higher time frame. It's just like when I go into a session, I can utilize it for a draw on liquidity. I can utilize it as a narrative for the day. If it's in line with, if I'm seeking higher prices and the RTH gap is above me, then I can use to target it. If it's below me, like today, then I would utilize it as a confluence for price to retrace into to expand higher. If I'm bearish on the day, like let's say the switch is, I'm going to switch, say lower prices, then I would look for it to fill in at least 25, 50%, 75, 100% of the RTH gap. I utilize it as a draw on liquidity, a bias, with whatever I'm already thinking. Yeah, I mean, I think this, even from the open, I mean, this has been semi-difficult to trade in. Not very clear-sided one runs. I mean, in here was decent off the inversion, but not my model. Do I have a private mentorship? No, I do not. This is all I got. So I'm going to see how we start moving inside of this end of silver bullet macro. I would need some really clear evidence that I would really want to tear off lower. And if it does, it's fine. I could get in line with that and I could go short. And I think a lot of newer students, they put a lot of emphasis on being right or wrong, especially within a session. But if I didn't take a loss, does that mean I'm wrong? Nope. So if we were to drift off lower, let's just play, you know, obviously at this point in time, it's not willing to displace higher, right? So I have to look at the other side and go, okay, well, what is it trying to do? What is it trying to reach for? I have to look at the other flip side. Well, we've taken out buy side liquidity. There is SMT, bearish SMT in here between ES, YM, and NQ. I would have to see is dollar index trying to move higher. And then is there an entry pattern or something for me to get short to target what? Sell side. But I would need some really clear evidence for that to do so. I'm not saying you should be switching biases all the time, but as we mentioned before, being fluid is not a bad trait. It's a good trait, as long as you're waiting for enough clear evidence for one side or the other. That's a good question. I just like quick retracements. That's personally the way I see it. Like a long retracement, something that takes a long time, sometimes that's not a good sign, because they could be just engineering liquidity, trying to do something different. More or less experience telling me. I like quick retracements and then quick displacements away. So why would I not really be shorting in here? Well, I'm still holding on to the idea that we could look for higher prices. So I can't let go of that. There's nothing that's clearly determined me to go short yet. I know it, again, I can understand the viewpoint of somebody being like, dude, you're saying this and that, but it's just me talking. Like, the actions is all that matters. I haven't done anything. Like, obviously, you've seen me execute. I know when to execute. Even in here, if I was to execute on that idea, I would have been stopped out probably, or at break even. So I've done the right thing. I haven't done anything. That last down close candle would be a bullish order block. This inefficiency I'm dragging from over here. If you look inside of that, small inversion there. I'd be willing to go long in here. Hopefully it doesn't lag. I don't know what's going on with the stream. Stop loss would go down here. Take profit would go up here. It very well could range, but we'll take the shot in here. Only risking 20 handles. For 50, it's a pretty good risk reward overall. Moving into the end of silver bullet macro. Have I ever been a swing trader? In my younger years, yeah. I can just kind of switch my personality and what I preferably like. Small inversion in there. Need to see it displace out of here pretty quickly. It's a pretty high risk entry if I had to be completely honest with you, but I'm willing to do it just because we're moving into the end of silver bullet macro. If I had to be honest, I'm probably going to get stopped out. But I'm going to pay my stop loss. I'm going to do my job and just let it sit there. If I had to trade the rest of today, I'd probably look at the PM session overall. So I got stopped out of my live account. Which I don't know why. I mean, you could cut the trade. I would, obviously, I'm going to cut it. So there's that. What did I do wrong in here? If I had to look at it overall, I could have waited again for my overall model where I'm waiting for price to get above here. But in my head, what I'm thinking and what I'm doing is price has already spent a lot of time. We took out south side, we displaced higher. We're moving into the time. I'm looking at time, which is the end of the silver bullet macro. So I'm anticipating if we're moving inside of that, price would want to move higher. Again, if you feel some type of way about taking a loss, or even watching me take a loss, it's like, it's not that big of a deal, man. Taking 3 trades this week. Overall, I'm basically semi-break even. If this thing really starts to sell off and I could do another trade, I could do that. We're just moving into a little bit of time where I don't have enough time. Yeah, it hasn't been the easiest week either, but I don't make excuses, really. How can you survive drawdown? By reducing your risk after a loss. You don't up your risk. In these environments, I mean, my older self, I could have taken 2, 3, 4, 5 losses already. Accidental. Overall, I mean, if I had to give myself criticism, I should have waited, but the narrative is bullish to me, so I can't, when I see my entry pattern, I have to execute on it. The only thing I kind of misread in here was not getting above that, but just looking at the entire opening range, I mean, it's been sloppy. In weeks where your model is not printing a whole bunch, you can become doubtful, fearful, upset, angry, because you want it to form every single day. There's going to be weeks where it forms almost every single day, and you're just swimming in profits. You're having a lot of fun. It's easy. And then you move into a week where you have to be extremely patient. Your model isn't forming. Price is just tough. It's a hard week. And that's where you become doubtful, you become angry, you become bitter. And you have to remember that those weeks of good are always going to come around. So the best thing you could do is maintain as little engagement as possible. I mean, I've taken such little loss this week. I mean, that's, to me, overall, I'm down about 15 handles overall. So if I can maintain that, this is what we're talking about, break even to, losing. If I can maintain on a bad week where I'm just a little bit under losing, or I'm just at break even, that's a very good week. Instead of completely blowing out on a week where my model wasn't printing, conditions weren't right. Like, there's never going to be every single week where your model is forming its perfect conditions. There's going to be weeks where it's cloudy, it's raining, it's not easy. Correct, John. Yeah, so if you take a loss of 2%, you'd move it down to 1. You can move it down again after a 1% loss. You can move it to 0.5% risk and just maintain there. You don't want to go so low to where you can't even dig yourself out of drawdown. But that's how you maintain profitability, is you're not over leveraging, you're not maintaining the same risk, you're dropping your risk. You're looking to make back half the loss, or at least 75 to 100% of the previous loss, and then you can move back into your original risk. Moving to the end of the silver bullet, I just want to see if is there anything else on the table. But overall, I mean, it's just look at this week so far. If you just look at the days, was this Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Been in a very tight range this week. So only thing I can do is be proud of myself for engaging for very little. The only thing I would do is maybe take one more trade today, and if I even did that, if I took one more trade today and it was a win, I'd probably be done for the week. Probably would try to cut it short. Just wait for tomorrow, or I'll wait for next week. I mean, the only thing, if I was to look at the short side, the short biases, we have an inversion here. But I'm not really willing to short off of that. Not necessarily hobby guy. I mean, a balanced price range, is simply put, is you can have one pass higher, one pass lower. Inversion like this, there's not another clear pass to the other side. It's just simply a BISI that turns into an inversion. So it's a failed, BISI turned into the other side. I only like inversions that have something, confluence with it. Like in here, when I had the BISI, there was an inversion to the left of it that was coupled within it. So something like that. That's the only time I really like inversions. Otherwise, I don't utilize them as an entry pattern. So we just opened up this new hourly candle. Again, if I was to look at the short bias, I just can't visualize price just dropping lower like this. That doesn't, logically, that just doesn't make any sense. I could be completely wrong, but experience tells me that it's not really ideal. I mean, overall, if I was to trade today, it would probably be PM. Because if AM's consolidating, it's not doing much, then typically PM would be a little bit better. Or even lunch. But I don't trade lunch. Could move into equilibrium of the range, yeah. Maybe you're just looking at the dealing range. High to low equilibrium sitting here. Does it have to have an FEG with it for you to utilize it? Yeah. Will I stream PM? No. I just want to see, can we trade down on the sell side? And I think even being in a short today, it would have been difficult to hold on to that position overall. I think no matter what position you were trying to be inside of today, would have been a little bit difficult. So we're keeping composure. Like, you don't see me overreacting because I took a loss and now I want to go short and chase the loss back. It's very important that you maintain composure. Like, even after a tough week, it can wear on you mentally, and that's where some weeks you have to cut it short because you know your mental capital is being spent way too much, and you're likely to make mistakes. You're likely to tilt. You're likely to FOMO into a trade. These things get accumulated over time, especially within a week. So it dropped off into the sell side. do I still believe of higher prices throughout the day? We could, but it's not willing to displace higher, obviously. So, I mean, do I feel any type of way about not shorting? No, wasn't part of the overall bias I was looking for. So, is that the 3 hour? Interesting. I think that's going to be it for the session. I mean, I don't want to sit on here any longer. I'm not going to influence anybody to do anything more. If I was to go into the PM session, I would still be looking at higher prices. I'm not going to let go of that idea. That's me being stubborn with logic. Hi, CG. You use the first FEG printed right after the open. It's what I picked up from the 23 mentorship price find support and resistance. Yeah, you could definitely extend out the first fair value gap throughout the session. It could go higher, yeah. I mean, the reason I'm being stubborn on that idea is because order flow to me is still not proven to me like overall it's willing to go lower. Just because we dropped off, you could just simply be taking out sell side, digging into a little bit deeper of a discount before price returning higher. So all the shorts could have been, it was just a short-term retracement in order to go higher. So we'll see. We'll see. I want to stay on here because streaming's funny because like you want to. The ego tells me I want to prove something. Like I want to prove that this is overall bullish, but you'll see it in the aftermath. I don't need to be on here to show you that. But that's what I'm going to stick with. If it doesn't prove me right, then obviously I'm not going to be trading. So that's going to be it for today. I'll appreciate everybody being in here. If you're new here, subscribe, like the video. I'll be live tomorrow for the last final day of the week. So until then, good luck and good trading, everybody.